What's going on, people? Take two now. We are Tottenham TV back here for another good morning Tottenham as we drew 2-2 last night at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium against Liverpool. A depleted Liverpool against the depleted Tottenham, which made for a really, really good game of football, end-to-end stuff. I mean, what a game last night, wasn't it?
Yeah, brilliant game, end-to-end, attacking, free-flowing football. Tottenham counter-attacking Liverpool's, possession. They were, for large parts, they were camped in our half trying to break us down. We were holding strong, and then once we got the ability to get the ball on the ground and counter-attack them with Winks passing in behind and Ndombele and Dele dribbling and Son racing in behind, we were devastating at times on the counter, and they really found it hard to live with Kane and Son. They really did, and that's what I want to see. I've always been calling for it since Conte got appointed, having Son up central with Kane, and we saw the first signs of it yesterday, and it's very, very positive. Yeah. And I really liked what I saw. Obviously, different games will provide different challenges, but yesterday was definitely Conte's first big game in charge of Tottenham, and we were brilliant. We were absolutely only disappointment is we didn't win.
Yeah, it really was a disappointment that we didn't win. But, looking into it, before the game, right, anything above a battering or anything above a loss would have been a bonus for us. But just the case that, in hindsight, obviously, after playing so well, the chances that we missed. I mean, how many clear-cut chances did we have yesterday? In the first half, we could have scored about 3 or 4 goals alone. Yeah. I mean, Dele with that chance. Sonny, couple of chances. Harry Kane with a chance. I couldn't believe what I was seeing yesterday. I really couldn't. Yeah, it was always more shocking that we created them than we were missing them, you know what I mean? And wasn't sure what was more shocking. I know. Because the chances we created were clear-cut chances. Yeah. Like, these are chances, like, every day of the week you're putting away. We created more clear-cut chances yesterday than we probably did in the whole Nuno tenure. Yeah, it was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. And Liverpool just couldn't handle Kane and Son. Their link-up was really good yesterday. And I thought they were creating chances for each other at will. But it's just very disappointing because we should have really put them to bed. We should have been 3-0 up at half-time pretty much. Second half as well, Dele and Kane had a 2-on-1 against Alisson. They screwed that one up as well. Kane had another chance from a corner. We had so many opportunities to put them to the sword, and we didn't take them, and it was obvious we were going to get punished for it. It was obvious. We're never going to hold out for a 1-0 win or whatever it was. So that was the case. And you've got to say, Liverpool, for all their troubles at the back, they caused us some trouble as well, because you've got to remember for the last 15 minutes, probably 10 minutes of this first half, we wanted the half to end, I would say. Oh, definitely. You know what I mean? Trent had that chance at the back post with the volley just after they equalised. They looked like they were going to score again. And they all had their chances. Mane was causing Emerson a lot of problems down that left-hand side. And they did have a few chances as well, but not as clear-cut as we had. Yeah, in terms of Emerson, I thought he was really struggling on the night. Mane, like you said, giving him endless amounts of problems. Probably should have given away a penalty, but I felt like he was definitely stifled for that early yellow card that he got in the game, and Mane really seemed to take advantage of that. Yeah, I think so. He kind of seemed hesitant a lot of the time, Emerson, when going in for challenges. He was the only positive I'd say about him is he kept getting down that right-hand side time and time again. His quality wasn't that great, but at least he was... Kane once early on. Yeah, but at least he was continually
getting there on the right, but being an option. And that's very important, because if he stops doing that, all of a sudden it's very difficult for us to get out. You know, it's very difficult for us to play out their press and find an option. So that was really positive, and hopefully the more time Conte has with him, the better he'll get with his quality. But he did struggle yesterday. He was probably our weakest player on the night, unfortunately for him. Mane, he really struggled, and I thought he was a few times. He had a really good opportunity to put a ball in the box and wasn't able to find any real quality a few times on the right-hand side. So he's got to improve that. But overall, if we go through the game, I think first half for Liverpool started strong, but then after about 10 minutes, we were brilliant. We're absolutely brilliant. Liverpool coming at us, we were just countering them every single time. I thought Winks was playing some brilliant balls over the top to Kane and Son. He was absolutely brilliant.
What a performance!
And the first goal wasn't actually, it stemmed from a counter, but it was actually more from Dele dribbling. It falls to he tries to play it through to Son, doesn't quite work out.
Goal.
Yeah.
It was from that Winks sliding challenge, right?
And then because that was after Dele did that little mazy run, wasn't it? And then Winks comes in the challenge, and then goes to Ndombele with a brilliant through ball, I thought, to Kane, and then a great finish. And then, after that goal, it all seemed to click for us. Son had that chance straight away, didn't he? After a minute, should be 2-0. Dele had that another chance, which was one of the saves of the season for me, from Alisson. Should be 3-0 at that point. We're creating opening after opening, but as soon as Dele missed that chance, I think they scored straight after that. You just got that feeling when Dele just misses that, you're like, are we going to get punished for this?
And as soon as they scored, they gained control of the game.
Yeah.
As soon as they scored. What?
He's on the phone.
As soon as they scored, they can gain control of the game, right? So from about 25 minutes in, they gained control. And then, like you say, we really needed half-time. Liverpool were gaining ascendancy. And as soon as half-time came, Conte must have got into them second half in the half-time, because we came out like we did in the first half of the first half, really. And I thought in the second half, we were really strutting our stuff again. Obviously, we weren't creating as many clear-cut chances as we did in the first half, but I thought the way that formation worked, with that three in midfield, with the Winks and Dele working so hard like they were doing, it was just sensational to watch. It really was.
And I think it's very important to notice that it wasn't just, we were aggressive and we were getting in their faces, and we were on the counter-attack, we were great. But if it wasn't for me, I think the only way we were able to get in behind so often is because the quality of Dele, Winks and Ndombele, technically their passing ability, that was what was allowing us to find real quality passes in behind and allowing us to open them up. And in the second half, we did it again. It was actually Eric Dyer this time, finding a late run from Dele Alli. Yet again, another clear opportunity, but he screwed up the pass to Kane, which should have been a bit better, which would have got another goal. But I felt like because I thought, although Ndombele was giving the ball away a few times in the centre of the park, I felt like he was actually allowing us to beat the press quite often and allowing us to get up the pitch very quickly, and Winks as well. And because he was giving the ball away, I think Conte felt like he was forced to take him off, which I think most of the ground agreed with at the time. And he brought Skip on. And Skip obviously added a bit more steel in there. He wasn't giving the ball away in the stupid areas Ndombele was. But I did feel in that last 25 minutes, once Skip was on, we did lose a bit of, I don't know what it was, maybe impetus, a bit of urgency going forward. We did struggle a bit more once he came on to really hurt Liverpool and find the quality passes to Kane and Son. And especially when they went down to 10 men, we really did struggle to create chances. And although Lucas came on, I don't know, we made all three subs yesterday because Reguilon came on as well on the left-hand side.
Yeah, he came on the last few.
Could have maybe used a bit more guile potentially in that last 15 minutes or so. It was but it was unfortunate because of all the good play. When they're down to 10 minutes, thinking, okay, we're going to take him now. But unfortunately, it didn't quite happen like that. And that was a bit disappointing. So, I mean, there's two elements of a missed opportunity. There's all the chances we missed, and there's also those last 10 minutes when they're down to 10 men. So there's kind of two feelings for me when I think about the game in terms of missed opportunities. But, of course, before the game, I would have taken a point.
I was asking everyone on the fan show last night, your feelings coming into the game, right, is obviously like anything above a loss is a bonus, right? After seeing that game in hindsight, where we should have won the game. We had the most clear quality chances. Is that 1 point gain still for you, or is it 2 points dropped?
It's a tough one. I think it has to be 1 point gained just because we're playing Liverpool. So, you're right. At the beginning of the season, you probably put that down as a loss, and the fact we got a draw, you'd say it's a point gained. But how are we going to have a better opportunity of beating Liverpool than we did yesterday in a while? Probably not.
Season, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be, and also not just that, they're playing them with Morton in midfield, who struggled. I felt badly throughout the game.
He did struggle, but in the first few minutes, he played a lovely ball over the top that nearly created a chance for them. I mean, he's got some quality, that Morton.
Yeah, but he's only 19, and I don't think he was ready for that kind of game. And I think they're clearly forced to play him. And I think we obviously did take advantage, but we're not with the result. And we're not going to play at Liverpool, even though we were also depleted. Reguilon wasn't playing, we had Sessegnon playing, we had no Skip wasn't starting.
Winks, Sessegnon on the pitch,
So we also had quite a makeshift team. I think that their midfield was so weak. And that's why the 5-3-2 worked so well, is because we had, despite a much changed midfield, we had players like Dele and Ndombele and Winks who are probably, you probably say, technically they're very good players, and we were able to dominate that midfield battle in there against Milner, Keita, and Morton. And I think that's why it was so effective. And against Henderson, Fabinho, and Thiago, would it be as effective? It'll probably be a lot more difficult for that midfield to dominate.
I mean, Thiago's been the standout player this season, hasn't he? He's really stepped up. And, yeah, they missed a lot in that midfield, Liverpool. But, look, at the end of the day, we had no Højbjerg and Skip, who we've been saying who have been imperative for us this season,
Yeah.
So our whole midfield were ripped to the core as well. So when you're looking at players like Winks, who really stepped up yesterday, Dele Alli, starting off with Harry Winks, I mean, I loved his aggressive nature on the pitch yesterday, because we know, like, every time Harry Winks plays, we're like, come on, man, get stuck in, play some forward passes. And that's exactly what he did yesterday. Yeah, I think he had most interceptions, most blocks on the pitch yesterday. The amount of times he was pinging the ball over the top to start attacks for us was absolutely sensational. And on the other hand, Dele Alli, right? Dele Alli was putting in such a shift, such a step forward for Dele Alli. I just felt he just looked a bit rusty in that final third. Dele. Obviously, with that chance where he should have gone the other way potentially, and a few other moments. I think there was a bit of a sloppy pass to, I think it was to Son or for Kane. I can't remember which one. And there was just a couple of moments in the final third where the Dele of old will be snatching at that chance and playing just a bit of a stronger ball to put us through. So I felt like everywhere outside the final third, Dele Alli was actually really good. But in the final third, just that bit of rustiness came through.
Yeah, if we talk about Winks first, I thought he was absolutely brilliant yesterday. I thought he was absolutely brilliant, and he really put on a performance to show a lot of the fan base, and especially the manager, that he definitely has a place in this team if he's up to it. And it wasn't just his tenacity, as you say, which was brilliant. He was putting in challenges left, right, and centre, and he really was putting a foot in, which I've criticised him for before. But I thought his quality on the ball, it wasn't just those beautiful long passes through to Son and Kane.
From over and over again,
we know he's capable of it. I know he's capable of it. We've seen it before.
Time and time again.
We've seen it before.
Yesterday.
He was doing it brilliantly on a plate as well. Just the quality was. There was one where he was literally midway through his own half, and he plays like a really early ball through to Son.
Yeah.
I think that might have been the one where Dele misses the chance. It was an absolute peach of a pass, and Son actually probably could have done a lot better with a few of the opportunities that he was presented with from Winks. But just talking about Winks, it wasn't just those long passes, but also the little short, quick 1-2s, quick passes into feet, crisp. He was accurate. He was confident. Winks looked like a new man yesterday, and I'd love to see it. Absolutely love to see it. I thought he was brilliant. And if he continues to play in that kind of form, then he's going to have a place in this team, 100%. 100%. As much as I love Skip, Skip's not capable of what Winks did yesterday. I don't think. I really don't think he is. Off the ball, I still think Skip's ahead of him, but on the ball, I don't think Skip can do what Winks did yesterday. Not yet, anyway. So I think there's definitely a place in this team for Harry Winks if he continues to play like that.
It's all about consistency at the end of it, isn't it? It's one game. So.
And he was playing against bloody Morton, Keita and Milner. So, he's going to have more difficult centre midfield opponents. But if we can get performances like that on a weekly basis from Winks, no doubt about it, he'll be starting. Dele Alli, I thought he came in and he looked like whether he looked like he was putting himself in the shop window or he was trying to show Conte, I want to actually play in this team. I want to, there was no surprise. There's all this talk of him leaving, isn't there? It was really hotting up like in the past week, and then it was a real shock to everyone that he was the one put into the side, even with the injuries. We have Lo Celso on the bench, don't we? We have Lucas on the bench. They could have easily been in the side ahead of him. So.
It reminded me of that display. I think this display was actually better, but it reminded me of the display, cast your mind back a year ago when we played Fulham, and he had a really good display that game, and there was all talks hotting up of him leaving as well then, and then didn't really do much after that.
Yeah, so I hope it's different this time, but I thought definitely much more suited in a 5-3-2 than he would be in a 3-4-3. I think because he likes being those central areas. He was clearly given more license to get forward and get in behind and make those runs that we haven't seen in a long time. And he was doing it so often. The chance that he missed with the Alisson save, the one where he should have set up Kane, the penalty as well. Those are just three times off the top of my head. I remember him running late in behind, and they're so hard to track from Dele Alli. And that used to be his forte. That used to be the best thing about him.
Do that in a long time.
So if he's bringing that back into his game, then for sure he's going to be very valuable player. But it wasn't just that. There was a few times where his dribbling ability, especially for the first goal, was in full show. He was in full flight at times, and we haven't seen Dele taking on players and beating players like he was yesterday, and he seemed like physically in a different place. The only thing I would say is final third a bit rusty, and I also felt in the second half he was kind of regressing a bit into that Dele where he's very easily giving the ball away in the middle of the park. But it's not necessarily his passing, it's more he is not a very good shielder of the ball. He never has been, and he's very easy to muscle off the ball. And if he's trying to hold of players off, he finds either he finds it very difficult, or he's just not very, or he doesn't know how to do it. I feel like in the centre you have to be very good at holding players off, and I feel like when players get too close to him, it's very easy to get the ball off him, and that's one thing he has to, if he's going to play in that role, he's going to have to fix. And I think that definitely was a problem for him in the second half. But I thought definitely to make that kind of impact against a team like Liverpool was very impressive, I thought, and I thought he had a great game.
Yeah, there was a moment in the first half where he took it past like 2 or 3 men.
That was for the first goal.
That was for the first goal, right? So, I mean, look, Dele Alli, much improved performance. Again, like Winks, it's all about consistency.
And if we can get these players playing, that's the most crucial thing, because we know our first 11 is decent, like it's pretty good. I don't think whatever, you can say what you want, but it's like we've got a pretty good first 11. But then the whole question was, our fringe players, when they come in, they always continually letting us down. They're always not stepping up to the plate, and we always tend to, the bad results a lot of the time start coming when we put in the fringe players. But if we can get games like this out of Winks and Dele and Ndombele and Sessegnon, we'll talk about Sessegnon in a sec, that's half the job, because that means all of a sudden we have a squad to pick from. And they have to start doing that on a consistent basis and start and break into that first team and show the manager they can, not only are they fringe players, but they can actually play week in, week out in the first team. And that's the most crucial thing. And once we start thinking that, we've got a squad here, then you can chop and change, and you can kind of tailor what players you want to use to the opposition or what thinks best. But when they're not doing it, you kind of only have the players who are stepping up, don't you? You kind of only have a first 11. That was the problem. So I think really positive that those were the players performing well yesterday. Yeah,
and not only them, more fringe players stepping up as well. Ryan Sessegnon in his first start in a very, very long time. I think since
in the Prem
2020 in the Prem.
Ooh, was it Norwich in that game all the way back in when Mourinho was in charge, probably, when back in 1920. I don't think he didn't play at all for us last season, did he? So
it was in 2020.
Yeah, so second half of 2 seasons ago.
I think that's what it is. But him and Ben Davis, right, on that left-hand side were absolutely stellar. I mean, Mo Salah, did he even play yesterday, Mo Salah? I was considering this is a player, right, who has got 15 goals and assists in
15 consecutive games. I think it's a record now, isn't it, or something? Didn't get one yesterday.
He equalled Vardy's record. He would have broken it against us.
Didn't get one yesterday, did he?
No.
I thought he was. I can't remember one chance he had. To be honest, he obviously got the handball for the goal. We'll talk about the big incidents in a sec, but yeah, he was so quiet. He was so quiet. I don't remember a shot he had. I thought Davis and Session had him on lockdown. They looked a lot better than Sanchez and Emerson on the other side.
Oh, definitely, and a lot better. Yeah, definitely, 100% they did. And like the thing is with Sessegnon, I felt at times he was doing to Trent what Trent does to other fullbacks. Right, I felt he was pushing back Trent, kept pushing back Trent, and there was times where Trent was actually pinged back right in the right hand spot row, and that is exactly. Do you remember in the preview we were going, oh, this is what Trent and Robertson are going to do to our fullbacks. They're going to pin us back, blah blah blah. That's exactly what Sessegnon was doing to Trent. It was unbelievable.
Well, at times I thought Trent, by and large, actually
Trent had a good game, right? Oh, yeah, I'm not saying he did it the whole game, but at times it was happening, and Sessegnon was able to ping Trent back.
Yeah, he was, and there was a few times he was taking him on and getting the better of him as well. A few times, and it wasn't just once. And I was really impressed with Sessegnon. His confidence, he seems to be growing. Obviously, after a great performance against Norwich in our last game, when he comes on for Reguilon, I thought this is even more encouraging from him, and I'm so happy that. He had a strong performance in a big game like this because he needs that for his confidence. And all of a sudden, they're looking like there is light at the end of the tunnel for Sessegnon and how he is. He's just got to keep him fit, and he's got to keep battling with Reguilon. It'll be interesting to see what Conte does. Obviously, Reguilon's our number one. But if he puts him straight back in, or if he feels like Sessegnon's kept his place, we're interesting to see what kind of team we play on Wednesday. But anyway, I'm so happy for him because he comes under a lot of stick and a lot of doubts, but played a great game.
It's just great to have two different options there, two really good options there. That's the main point.
And he seemed quick and pacey again, and just confident. And he had a bit of quality as well. I remember right at the end of the first half, he beats Trent, and then he finds Harry Kane in the penalty area, and Kane's shot gets deflected wide. And it was really good. He has a bit of quality, and you got to remember this guy in the Championship did score a lot of goals, so he has shown that he has got quality if he can show it. So very happy for him. I don't think Reguilon unfortunately did too much in the last 10 minutes. Maybe didn't get an opportunity. It wasn't great.
Enough time. But I always felt like Spurs going into like even before the game, I was thinking Spurs going into the last stage of this game.
Yeah, it'll be difficult.
Struggle just because of the circumstances.
And in fact, they could have scored when. Alisson,
it's a challenge from Sanchez,
but Alisson, what a ball that was to Tsimikas, right in behind, that was Scholes-esque from Alisson, and then they could have scored right at the end. But yeah, Sanchez made a couple of great challenges, but he also did a couple of really stupid things as well.
Sanchez, it was like so classic Sanchez yesterday. I mean, some great moments, then just some really, really like what the hell's going on here moments.
Yeah. And I tell you what, the ball for just before the goal, actually, just for the Liverpool's second goal, he plays an absolute peach to Dele Alli to play him through on goal. What a ball, Sanchez! Oh. What a ball that was from Sanchez. Like
I remember
back to his confidence himself. I was like,
wait
what?
A second, was that was Sanchez?
Yeah, that was Sanchez.
And Dyer
played the one where Dele squares it to Kane like poorly. Yeah. That was Dyer. That was brilliant. What a ball!
Dyer made 2 or 3.
No, he was pinging them around. Dyer.
I mean, this guy, he's playing like a deep playmaker at the moment.
He is. He is. He's spraying some really good passes around Dyer. I'm really happy for him.
Dyer, man, his season is going from strength to strength to strength. Ben Davis, I mean, like we're saying with Mo Salah, I think it was mainly down to Ben Davis why Mo Salah was actually so quiet. I think he was sensational, Ben Davis, and that chance right at the end.
Yeah, should have shot.
That chance right at the end.
Did he? It looked like
I think he was caught in 2 minds and ended up going for a cross at the end, and there was no one there really to cross
it was only time really he found himself in that position throughout the game, because he's done that a few times this season, hasn't he? And again, really great. But it wasn't just his defensive. Again, I thought on the ball, he looks so composed. Because he's used to playing left back, he's used to having to use his passing range a bit. So he's very comfortable on the ball, and you can see that when he's playing centre back, he's not afraid to pass the ball out the back, or when he's hurried into a clearance. He's not afraid to look for a pass in that situation, and he knows he has the quality to pick out a pass as well. And he was playing these lovely little short passes into feet. into the centre mids and into Session, which was really, really good to see. And that's why he's so good in that left centre-back role, because of his experience at left-back really, really helps him, and he's very good defensively. So another stellar performance from Davis. Hasn't put in a bad game since Conte's come in. Another great performance from him. We'll talk about the top two now in Kane and Son. Linked up really well, but unfortunately, they'll both be... I think them two and Dele will all be having sleepless nights about the missed chances they missed. I think as much as Kane and Son will walk away with that with a goal, the chances they missed, they'll be thinking what could have been. That's how they'll leave it, I think.
I felt with Heung-min Son, right, he was very energetic. He provided for the team really well, but I felt in the crucial moments he couldn't control the ball properly.
Happened
it kept
a few
bouncing
times.
off him, heavy touches. Look, with all his work, he deserved that goal because of how hard he worked during the day and his link-up play and stuff like that. But there were just some pivotal moments where the ball kept bouncing off, and it was just really frustrating with Sonny yesterday.
Yeah, well, he had that chance where Kane sets him up just after we scored the first, and he just miscues it. It was actually quite funny because it was literally... I do remember when we beat Liverpool, the last time we beat Liverpool, actually, when we beat them 4-1 at Wembley, Kane pretty much plays an identical ball to Son, and he hits it on the half volley right into the bottom corner. And this time it was pretty much identical, but Son just couldn't turn this one in. And it was such a shame because it was a good ball by Kane, although he could have maybe done it along the ground. He did it a bit in the air, but I think it's still good enough ball that Son should be scoring that. A number of times Son was through on goal and he just takes a bad touch or miscontrols it and wasn't able to get a shot on goal. But there was one moment where he looked like he'd screwed up, and then he plays an absolute delightful ball to Dele.
Yeah.
What a ball that was. What a pass. Right on the plate for Dele. He should have scored as well. But especially most of Son's chances came in the first half where he was really getting in behind, and then obviously Dele had all those chances. But I thought him and Kane, it was the first time in a while we've seen that link up between them
since Jose's left.
Yeah, it's the first time in a while. So I'm really happy that link up seems to be back, and I think them two up top in a two was really working for me yesterday. They were a lot of the times it was actually them two versus two centre backs, because Robertson and Trent are just so aggressive with their forward runs that as soon as Tottenham turned it over, if we can get
the legs as well.
Yeah, that's for sure. But if we could get the ball quick enough forward, we could have a 2-on-2, and it happens so often. And Son and Kane were getting the better of them, Konate and Matip, time and time again. We were just outdoing them on the back, and that's encouraging because it reminds me of Martinez and Lukaku, you know what I mean? It reminds me of when the last partnership he had. That was how devastating it was, and there are signs there that this one could be equally as devastating in the future. And we know that they have a great link up, and they've already got a great relationship. So as long as they're getting fitting into this Conte system, how it is, teams should watch out. But should we go? Let's talk about the big incidents then. So first of all, the Harry Kane challenge in the first half. Is that a red card for you?
Yeah, for me it is. Yeah,
I think it's a strong challenge. I think if you look at it, I think he's lucky. I think he's very lucky not to have avoided a red card. But it's one of those where, like, a couple years ago, you probably don't even think about, but because in this day and age,
what are you talking about? A couple of years ago, you're talking about like the 90s or something?
No, I'm literally talking maybe not a couple, maybe like 3 or 4 years ago. Like that challenge, probably you don't even, because he actually doesn't go with his studs. Because he goes one-footed. He actually goes with the he actually doesn't make any contact with his studs. It actually isn't as dangerous as a still frame might make it look. But in this day and age, when you go that kind of, because he's slightly off the ground, you have to say he's lucky not to have got a red.
To be honest, I think it was a clear red. To be honest, I really did. I don't know why they didn't go back and give the red card. I really don't understand it. And there was a similar one, well, not a similar one, but there was one in the Arsenal game as well with Granit Xhaka.
That one was a bit more over the top, I felt, actually, than Kane's one. Because Kane went with one foot.
They're both red cards at the end of the day, and both of them get no action whatsoever. I don't get what VAR are looking at. Like, what are they doing?
Yeah,
Both of them.
Yeah. Kane, I think he's lucky. He's lucky not to get a red card.
All these salty Liverpool fans and Arsenal fans going mad about Harry Kane's challenge yesterday. First of all, I don't know what any business it is for Arsenal fans. I don't know why they're going mad about it, but Liverpool fans going mad about it, right? they have very short memories because Robertson a couple of years ago or last year at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium did something worse and didn't get sent off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, I mean, these things happen in football. Doesn't make Harry Kane a cheat. Doesn't make this one that. The ref
It's not
just
a
made
cheat, it's
the
the
wrong
ref.
decision.
It's not on Harry Kane to send himself off, is it?
It's ridiculous, some of the abuse that's coming in for Harry Kane after
Yeah, you get it. Liverpool don't like Harry Kane, do they?
Yeah.
They never have. After he dived all those years ago, they said he dived. But so yeah, I think it was a red. But I think he probably got away with it because he went in with the side of his foot, and also Robertson jumped, which probably made it look not as bad as it was. Probably the challenge, actually, in a weird way, because if Robertson doesn't jump, the challenge would look a lot worse. Actually, because he probably would have been injured from that. The next big incident was Jota penalty in the first half.
I think it was, yeah.
Where Jota's about to have a shot, Emerson goes in the back of him, and bundles him over, really, doesn't he?
Yeah, it was a clear penalty. Again, clear penalty. I don't know what the ref is doing. And to be honest, I think, we all saw what Klopp did after the game, went straight up to the ref going, I don't have a problem with any other ref apart from you. Klopp was very incensed after the game, and I could see why, because those were two big key decisions throughout the game where you're saying if those two decisions go Liverpool's way, they probably go on and win that game.
Is it one VAR should be getting involved with, do you think? Or is it one where it's not clear and obvious and it's kind of subjective to the ref's decision?
I don't think it is. I think it's clear and obvious. I think that he doesn't see any of the ball, barges the man straight over. I don't see how it's not given.
The ref said after the game he thought Jota stopped so that Emerson would bundle him over. That's why he didn't. He said? Yeah, that's why he didn't give it. He thought Jota was gonna was running, and then he I don't know if he noticed, but he thinks Emerson's behind him, so he just stops and makes sure Emerson goes into him because Emerson's obviously running. And that's why he doesn't give it. It's
an interesting one. But to be honest, I tell you the truth, I haven't seen it since live, a few replays I saw. And when I saw it, my first instinct was that is 100% a penalty. We've got away with one here, big time.
I think it's a penalty. I think it's one of those where it's probably touch and go for VAR to get involved. I think refs should have given it. But that's why the ref's decision actually still holds a lot of weight, even with VAR, because if it's not a clear and obvious decision on the cameras, then VAR can't get involved. So in that kind of instance, I think we're lucky. But I think, should VAR get involved? I think probably not. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. It's difficult.
What did you make out of the Dele Alli one?
Yeah. So the next one was just for the second goal was Dele Alli. I've seen it again, and he does get a bit of a shove in the back from Trent, but it would have been a soft one.
Is it enough, that shove in the back though? Because he has his hands on him, yeah, but I'm not sure if there was too much of a shove there.
Yeah, I have to see it. I've only seen it once again.
I thought it was weak.
It was a weak shout. I thought
like VAR.
Winks probably had a better shout. I thought actually.
Which is the Winks one?
Winks was fouled by Matip in the second half. Right, literally on the line on the penalty area. It was also a weak one, but he probably had a better shout than Dele for a penalty there. He was kind of shoved over, but I don't think VAR can get involved in that one. For Dele's one, I've seen them given. I don't think VAR overturns it if referee gives it. You know what I mean? If referee decides that's a penalty, I don't think VAR is going to go, no, it's clear and obvious, not a penalty. Like, it could have been given because Trent has his hand on him, and so gives a decision for the ref to make. Because Trent's not near the ball, is he? So he does have the decision to make, but I think it would have been a soft penalty. If that's against me, I would be fuming.
Yeah,
I'll be fuming. So, but the goal. I know the goal they scored, Liverpool's second goal. I know the rule. The rule nowadays is if an accidental handball is not by the goal scorer,
from Salah,
in the lead up to the goal,
Salah's
then it has
handball.
to be allowed.
Yeah.
But he does pretty much control it with his hand, doesn't he?
I'm trying to remember it, to be honest. It
was literally just before they scored.
Yeah, I mean, he controls it with his hand. I mean, didn't the ball just come and hit him on his hand, or do you think he controlled it with his hand? I mean, I can't really remember it.
Or it hits him, but he does control it. Like, it helps Liverpool. Like, it took it down. It was accidental, but he does take it down with his hand.
I mean, the rule is that if it's accidental, if it's not
the goal scorer,
yeah.
If it's in the lead up to the goal, it's fine. If it's not the goal scorer, if it's the goal scorer, it gets ruled out. So that's the rule. But does it sit right with you that goal's allowed?
I mean, when I was watching it, I remember having a chat with Brains about this, and we both were kind of in acceptance of the rule, saying the goal probably should still stand.
It's just difficult when we had the Delhi penalty and then that handball, and then he goes in. It's like you're thinking it's all against you, all gets allowed, but.
Yeah,
I guess that's the rule. That's the rule, but I don't know.
The rules at the end of the day. Maybe if the rules are wrong, if the rules are right, like
are the rules right or wrong?
That's a different question. But
should that be allowed? That goal?
Should it be allowed? Probably not. Probably not, because you can't just have any player that if it's his hand, the goal's allowed. I don't understand how that's the rule. But
this is a response to, if you remember, this is pretty much all happened.
There needs to be some middle ground somewhere. You know what I mean?
Because of that goal that Tottenham scored. Dyer. Actually, who scored it? No, not Dyer. It was when we played Fulham that one time. That
goal?
No, sorry, we conceded. It was because what happened was Sanchez was clearing the ball. And the Fulham player was closing him down, and while he clears the ball, the guy has a hand by his side, but it hits his hand and deflects to a Fulham player and scores, and he got ruled out because of a handball. And everyone was saying, "Oh, it's ridiculous! How can they rule that out?" Blah blah blah. And they literally changed the rule, but on the back of that, saying, "Oh, if it's an accidental handball, it's allowed as long as it's not the goal scorer." And now you got an instance like this where Salah's goal is being allowed. I think in that instance, like. When you're literally controlling the ball like that, I don't know. I feel like it should be ruled out.
Wasn't it that penalty that we gave away with Eric Dyer? The rule got changed after that.
That was they did, but that was for handball being penalised in the penalty box, not for goal scoring handball.
Rules only get changed after.
Yeah, literally only when
in our game.
Exactly, that's all that happens.
Just like the top four thing as well. But,
yeah. So that happened.
I think everything needs to be. There needs to be a clear kind of. I mean, there is a clear rule on it, but I think there needs to be more like a subjective decision on the pitch from the referee to make a clear decision. You know what I mean? Because we can't have just like anything can be. Kind of misconstrued as like accidental, you know what I mean, on a football pitch. So I mean, it's very difficult to make those kind of decisions, and I think VAR probably should be getting involved a bit more. But I think in that instance, I think because of what the ruling is, there's nothing we can really do on that.
And then last one, the Robertson red card.
Yeah,
that's got to be a red, doesn't it?
Definite red. I mean, the guy took chunks out of Emerson's legs,
and he was nowhere near the ball. Like you can't even say he was going for the ball. He was he just basically took a swipe at Emerson. It looked like pretty much.
Yeah.
And it was a horrible challenge. And like, I think in that kind of instance, if he gets a bit of the ball or something, like I think he probably gets away with it. But because he was just nowhere near the ball, like it just comes across as if he's just gone up to Emerson and kicked him, basically.
That's what it
So
looked like.
I think when you make no attempt, like in Kane's one, at least like he got the ball. Like I know it was a bad challenge, and probably him getting the ball might have saved him as well, Kane as well. But for the Robinson one, it was nowhere near the ball. He wasn't even going for the ball. And when you make no attempt to get the ball and you make a challenge like that, you can't expect anything else but a red card. And I think that was the right decision.
The ref made the right decision, went back to look at it. And, I mean, once he went to look at the screen, you knew it was going to be a sending off, didn't you?
Yeah.
You just knew. I mean, when you were in the stands, obviously, yesterday, did you see it straight away?
No, I didn't. I obviously, it's difficult to see it when you're at the ground. It looked like a strong challenge, and he gave a yellow, but I didn't. But was actually what Ricky had it on his phone, and he was rewinding it. And he would show you. I was like, yeah, it's a red.
Yeah.
So I was during the VAR challenge. I was seeing it. So I think he got that one right. But Klopp was really angry at the ref, wasn't he, after the game yesterday?
I think rightly so, to be honest. I mean, Klopp, to be honest, always gets like this whenever they have a negative performance or a negative result.
Although I didn't like what he said about how he... I don't know, maybe he was just bitter about the result, but he was like, oh, Tottenham, they just defended and knocked the ball long.
Yeah, and you know,
and get on there, and Kane and Son got on their bike.
Actually had more long balls than us during the game.
Did they?
Yeah.
Oh wow, look at that. So, look, I just thought he was very bitter about the result, about what happened, bitter. Because I thought I think they had some good opportunities as well, but I thought at the back, tactically, they got a bit outclassed yesterday.
Look, I just felt like we were the better side on the day, and we deserved the win. you've got a lot of circumstances. What do you make out of Klopp? I think Klopp was complaining about playing the game. I mean, he was the one saying...
He was complaining about playing the
Yeah,
game,
he was complaining about the circumstances, about how a lot of their players weren't ready and not fit because of COVID and all this kind of stuff. We're the ones coming back after 13 players coming down with COVID and stuff like that. I just didn't get it. And he was the one saying a few days ago how the Premier League needs to go on.
Yeah, I'm just reading now. He says we play Wednesday, Sunday, now Tuesday. It's not possible. We don't have the players. But he was the one saying they want to play.
That's what I'm saying.
Before, it was weird.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it does make sense. Doesn't make sense that he's now complaining after saying he wants to play. So, I don't get what. I think they've got a lot of players who have gone down with positive cases. I think he has a right to be angry about the game being played. But why say on Friday, oh, we want, we don't want the game to be postponed, we want the game to go ahead,
Exactly.
we're happy to play, and then all of a sudden come out and say, oh, it's a disgrace that we were forced to play. Like, I don't understand. You just said you were happy to play.
Yeah.
Like Brendan Rodgers, before the Spurs game was very clear. Look, we don't want this game to go ahead. We've asked the game to be cancelled. It's been rejected by the Premier League. He made his stance firm. So when he's like upset that the game's going ahead, he's made it clear that he doesn't want it to go ahead. But like Klopp, he's saying in the media, we haven't heard about the game being cancelled. We want the game to go ahead. We're happy to play. And all of a sudden he's come out and saying... He
was being a bit of a sore loser yesterday, Klopp, but I can see why he was aggrieved with some of the decisions made throughout the game, because I thought the quality of refereeing yesterday was pretty poor.
Yeah, in general, I agree. But with Kane scoring, is he back now?
A bit early to say that, but it was definitely a good performance yesterday. Took his goal really well. I would have said maybe if he scored 2 or 3 goals like he should have yesterday, then he's back. But look,
do you think he'll start scoring now?
I hope so. But I said the same after he scored against Newcastle.
I know, but this is different. This is different. Isn't it? Does you not think it's different?
Why is it different?
Because Conte's here and he's looked like a different player.
It'll be different if he scores game after.
Do you not think it's different though? Like looking at him.
Look, he's playing a lot better. He's played a lot better since Conte has come in. That's a fact. Yeah. So maybe in that sense, yes, it's different. But we all said under Nuno when he scored that goal, all he needs is 1 goal and he'll start. Yeah,
but that was just hope. Now I'm just seeing it. Do you not see it with your eyes?
It's still just hope.
It's not.
It is.
It's not. You can see a difference. You not see a difference.
There is a difference.
So it's not just hope.
But it's 1 goal only still in 4 or 5 games.
Doesn't matter.
Of course it matters, because you need to keep consistently scoring. Look, you can say it's like, yes, he's playing a lot better. Fine, he's playing a lot better, but he's still not scoring a lot. He scored 1 goal now since Conte has come in. And I just want to see him now consistently do it, and I back him to do it.
Yeah, so I'm saying, do you not think he'll start scoring now?
But I thought he would do that under Nuno.
But do you think he will now?
I thought he would do it under Nuno.
I'm just saying, but I'm
always going to back Harry Kane to do it.
There you go, that's all I'm saying.
So yeah, like Harry Kane is a top player, but we can't say that he's back until he does it.
All right, now I'd say he's back, but I think yesterday was a massive step in the right direction for him. And I'm very happy. It was a
massive step in the right direction for the whole team.
Correct. Exactly. That's what I've always said, though. That's what I've always said. Once the team starts functioning, you will see a different Harry Kane. How that chance he scored, how many chances he even had like that, like recently? Like not that many.
Well, he's had quite a few clear-cut chances.
They have. The team hasn't been creating that many chances. Since Conte's come in, we have. Under Nuno, we just weren't creating.
Yeah, under Nuno, fair, but under Conte, he has missed a fair.
Yeah, he's had a few chances, but we haven't had that many chances. Throughout the whole season, like he just hasn't. Like we haven't been creating, and I always said once the team starts functioning, you'll see a different Kane. I'm certain of it, and it's more. And for me, it's more proof of it yesterday. Yeah, so I'm very happy with him.
There's no doubting Harry Kane's quality, but it all counts to consistency, right? We need to see him scoring like he used to, bring up the same numbers he used to, consistently week in, week out, be that goal threat, score those goals, put the goals in the back of the net, provide some assists, and be the world-class player we know he is.
Correct. And I back him to do it. I think he will do it. I
think we all do now. I think
he will. Yeah, especially after what I'm seeing now. Especially now because
John Cooper can't say.
It's not just Kane playing well. We need the team to be playing well, and Kane will be a consequence of that.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we saw yesterday. It wasn't just Kane playing well; it was the whole team were playing well. and Kane will be, once the team start playing well, the Kane will be part of that. I'm sure of it. So I'm very happy about that. All right, should we move on to the next topic then?
Yeah, so that is your match review. There's been a decision made by UEFA this morning, and Spurs are out of the Conference League. The game has been forfeited, and we have lost 3-0 to Rennes without playing. But look, as it stands, Tottenham are out the Conference League, so no more European football to contend with for the rest of the season.
3-0 loss.
3-0 loss, yeah.
Shocking performance. We're doing a match review.
Apparently COVID scored a hat-trick.
Should we do a match review on our 3-0 loss
player
to Rennes?
ratings as well,
player
right?
ratings.
But look, I think we probably have very different views on this, or maybe slightly different views on this, but for all what I've been saying about the Conference League, how I want to be in it, how I want to win it, I still, I'm not happy that we've gone out of it like this or gone out of it at all. But I think it is going to stand us in good stead for the rest of the season. And I think when you've only got domestic football to play, I think it's going to work in our favour for the remainder of the season. And I think it increases our chances of success in the top 4 and for a trophy hunt.
Exactly, and that's the
doesn't
positive.
increase our chance for a trophy hunt, but increases our chance for a domestic trophy hunt.
Well, yeah, and you know, with it depends if their semi-finals moves to a 2-leg, one leg, because there's talk of it, isn't it? In the Carabao Cup could move to 1 leg. We could potentially be 3 wins from a trophy. You know what I mean? So. For people who say, oh, we've just gotten rid of our best chance of a trophy and all that stuff. We are 3 wins away from a trophy. I know we've got some tough teams to play, but we all Europa Conference League also going to have some tough teams to play. It's not going to be a cakewalk, obviously. You know.
Yeah.
So
the levels though, there are levels there.
Look, we have to. I'd rather play 3 games against very good teams than 10 games against good teams. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you know, in the 10 games that you're playing, they're not all going to be against good teams. You know, maybe
a lot of them will.
3 or 4 rounds will be against good.
3 or 4 rounds? That's a lot.
Well, sorry, not 3. There's only 3 or 4 rounds to go.
Yeah.
I'm talking about maybe 2 rounds. You're talking about good teams. The other ones probably teams that we should be beating. Under Nuno, I would probably say, yeah, you're right. But under Conte, I'm not too sure. I think Conference League would have been a good competition for us to win. I'm not saying it's the be-all and end-all. I'm not saying I'm dying to win it and I'm really upset that we're out. But it would have been nice to go far in a European competition.
Yeah, I guess it would be nice, but I think we got bigger fish to fry, and that now it's going to allow us a lot more time on the training pitch, which I'm very, very happy about. That's the most important thing for me, because I think people underestimate how little time when you're playing Thursday, Sunday, and then domestic cups in the other midweek, how little time these players actually do get on the training pitch. It's not a lot. It's not as lot because they got 1 day recovery, then they got 1 day on the training pitch, and all of a sudden they got to play again.
Yeah.
That's how it works. And now that we're out of this competition, it's going to accelerate Conte's process into getting this team where it needs to be. It's going to get them there quicker, and I think that's the most important thing. We talk about winning mentality. Well, Conte needs time to implement that winning mentality. If he's got games all the time, he's not going to have time on the training pitch to implement his ideas as quickly as he would like. I'm sure he'll come still, but it wouldn't happen as quickly. And now that we're going to have that time, that space during the season to really concentrate on tactics and really concentrate on the pitch, these players are going to improve quicker. We're going to gel as a team a lot quicker, and we're going to be fighting for bigger things, or not necessarily bigger things, but things that we want to be achieving, like top 4, and the FA. And he's got a good record in the FA Cup. He's been in it twice, got to the final and won the next year. So he's got pedigree in that cup. League, I don't know how he did in the League Cup, but we're already in the quarterfinals of the League Cup. He's got to contend with. We've got West Ham on Wednesday. That's all. By the way, that's become a massive game now. Like, it already was, but that's become an even more massive game.
Why even more?
Because we're out of the Conference League.
Right.
I think that makes it much more important, right?
So.
You don't think so?
What? Just because we need a trophy?
Yeah.
In that sense. Yeah.
No, because we've one of our avenues for a trophy is scratch off. And so because we're in the quarterfinal of the League Cup, this become a massive game for me now on Wednesday. If we lose on Wednesday...
It was always massive.
I know,
for me,
but it's
always a quarterfinal against West Ham's always.
I know, but
massive.
if we lost and we still have the Conference League, you're like, okay, we still got another trophy. Because the Conference League's gone now, we have to win. That trophy has gone up in importance now, for sure, I think.
Yeah, to be honest, I always put the League Cup under the Conference League in terms of importance. But seeing as we got Conte now, I think my opinion on the Conference League and my opinion on the whole situation had changed. Because under Nuno, I felt it was a lot more important, the Conference League. Now we have Conte. Because under Nuno, like, I didn't give us a chance in hell for a top 4 finish, and I thought that was probably our easiest route back into even the Europa League. I didn't even give us confidence of finishing top 6 under Nuno, you know what I mean? And under Conte, you know, I think we've actually got a real fighting chance of top 4 now.
Exactly.
A real fighting chance of top 4.
And
So,
that's what we need, because to get this project up and running, we need to convince players that Tottenham is a good place is a place that you can come to fight for big things. And what's big thing? That's Champions League football, and that's what Conte wants as well. He wants to fight for big things. And if we're in the Champions League next season, we become so much more attractive for players to come than we're from Europa League or
playing
wherever.
in that stadium, that training ground in the Champions
with
League,
Conte,
you know what I mean?
with all that
Conte
exactly, and Kane, and also convincing people like Kane to, you know, we're going the right direction. All these kind of, it's so important.
Kane, though, stays here just for a top 4.
I think I think at the moment he's staying.
Why is that though?
Because of Conte.
But do you think that he only stays here if we've got a chance of fighting for the title, or even just top 4 with Conte?
No, he wants to. I think he wants Tottenham to be moving in the right direction. That's what he wants. He wants Tottenham to be fighting for big things. Yeah. He wants obviously a title challenge. It's not going to happen this season. But if we got top 4, I think he stays.
Yeah, I would agree with that. But you know, does he sign that contract though?
That's another question. I don't know about the contract.
If he doesn't sign the contract,
then you might want him to leave. But there's so many big players who are running down their contracts at the moment. Kane might look at that and think, maybe I'll do that. You know what I mean? That he could look at that.
You know, he can walk scot-free.
Yeah. Well, it depends. I mean, depends. I think if we get Champions League, there's a much better chance he would sign a contract for sure. Yeah,
you know,
for sure. I don't think he signs a contract unless we're at least in the Champions League and maybe won a trophy.
You know what I was thinking as well? Like, I would have liked the Conference League win just because of the Spurs history. Like, we've always been a team of first, you know, won the UEFA Cup in its inception, first team to do this, first team to do that, win the double, win the FA Cup as a non-league side, you know, all these kind of things in our history. So I thought winning the Conference League in its inception would have just added to that history of firsts. But look, it's not the be all and end all at all. I'm not that bothered that we're out of it. I'm really not. And I think that it's going to stand us in good stead. But what I was thinking actually this morning is that, what was the feeling in the 70s, in the early 70s? Obviously, we weren't around, so we won't know. But maybe people in the comments can tell us. What was the feeling in the 70s towards the UEFA Cup in that first instance?
I guarantee you it was a lot higher than the Conference League because you're playing a lot better teams. You had to finish second, I think, back then to get UEFA Cup.
Yeah, maybe third.
I think second or third. You've top 3 because there was no Champions League. There was a Cup Winners' Cup where all the literally winners went into that cup, and then you had the UEFA Cup. UEFA Cup was a much more prestigious competition, even back then than it is now. So for sure they took it highly.
In its first year, yeah.
In its first year, yeah, because you're playing such high quality opposition. You know that it's prestigious. Like now, this Conference League, you're playing teams that finish 7th and 8th in other leagues. You know what I mean? It's so stupid. Yeah. Like, what is this competition? I don't even know. Yeah. Like, what are we fighting for? To be champion of what? What are we champions of? What we winners of? Winners of the most mid-table European club. I don't know what this is.
It was more really about to get back into the Europa League than it was about winning the trophy.
Yeah, I get that, but I think we got a good shot of the league anyway to doing that. Yeah, but
what I was saying is that under Nuno, we didn't have a given right to do that.
No.
But under Conte, I think we do have a goddamn given right to finish in the top 6.
Yeah, well,
top 6. I'm saying.
I wouldn't say goddamn given right, but I would say we have a much better shout of it.
I think under Conte, we're in the top 6 teams in the league.
We have to be. Sure. Definitely. Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with that at all. And I'll be very shocked and disappointed if we don't get top 6 because of how he's got us playing at the moment, although it's still very early days. And hopefully in January he gets some signings through the door, which if he does that, if he can put performances like that with Winks and Dele and Davis, you know what I mean? Imagine if we get some signings in and players he wants who can play. Imagine what we can do, like real big things. So that's the most encouraging thing at the moment. So I think Conference League, as much as it would have been nice to get a trophy, I don't think it was worth the hassle in the end. I think it was more of a strain and distraction than it would have done any good. And we have other trophies that we it's not like we've got no other avenues for trophies. We have the FA Cup, we have the League Cup, we have opportunities to win. So I think we have to say goodbye to this trophy and move on from it. I think
everyone start making your UEFA Mafia placards. Let's get outside White Hart Lane and show them up.
Exactly, start protesting. And are probably the happiest people right now are Vitesse, I have to say. Vitesse are delighted right now.
You know what? They, whatever. Good for them, man. Like, as much as I wanted to win the competition, I'm really not that bothered that we're out of it. And I think it will stand us in good stead now moving forward. And I always agreed with your point in terms of saying like it will give us a better opportunity in the other competitions. But I just thought, just because we're in it, we may as well go and win it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I think if I've always had, my point is always, if we were to win this competition, we would have to sacrifice other things, and I wouldn't be willing to do that for this.
Do you think though, with the stepping up of the fringe players yesterday, with the Harry Winkses, with the Sessegnons and all that kind of stuff, maybe it would have given us, more players now to work with, because those players are the players that let us down against Mura, again in the away games of the Conference League and stuff like that. So do you not think those players could have stepped up now and stepped in for the Conference League?
It's easy to say that, but when they're playing in the Conference League, there's been a different mentality, hasn't there? So like when they're playing Liverpool, they're going to have to be up for it, otherwise they're going to be shown up for like being... Like they can't have a poor attitude in that game. But in the Mura game, I feel like they were just coasting. They felt like, oh, we can just turn up and just win. And
I get that, but under Conte, it could have been different. I know Mura was under Conte, but it was very early on in his tenure. It's still very early on in his tenure. So the next time the Conference League would have come around is like February time, and by then, hopefully maybe a few more players through the door. The other fringe players stepping up, hopefully, from now until then. So the squad would have looked a bit more beefier, and the fringe player playing much better. So maybe he could have brought that mentality into the Conference League as well.
Yeah, he could have. But we're still in 3 competitions. Why can't he bring it to the, early round to the FA Cup or whatever? Maybe even Premier League, where if we need to change things because we've got a semi-final on the weekend and we got a big game in midweek or something, where you can chop and change and use the squad. I've got no problem with that if he feels like he can do that, but they have to prove themselves. Yesterday was a good start. They have to do it more often, but it was a very good start yesterday, and hopefully we can start seeing these fringe players perform much more on a regular basis when they're coming into these games. But we've got other competitions they can look at. Like I don't think
we've got the Audi Cup in August.
Exactly, the Audi Cup, but I don't think. I don't think staying just because it would have given the fringe players more opportunities to play. I mean, they'll have opportunities if they're good enough to play. That's how I feel like it. They'll have opportunities. There's always an opportunity.
I'm not saying stay in the Conference League just to give the fringe an opportunity to play. What I'm saying is that what we were talking about before then is that the fringe players, we have to play a strong team in the Conference League to go through.
Yeah.
But now I'm saying because they stepped up yesterday against Liverpool, maybe we could have still played those similar players.
Can we do it without Kane and Son?
Yeah, that's another question.
No, but that's the answer. And we're gonna
do a Dusan though?
Yeah, well, but we're gonna have to play Kane and Son every game. That's the reality, and we can't. I don't think we can put that strain on them.
All right. Well, anyway, the facts of the matter is we are out the Conference League due to the UEFA ruling this morning. So Vitesse go into the next round.
Do you reckon there's an appeal? Do you reckon we'll appeal it or something?
Nah, I think that's done to face Vienna. I think that's that. We are out the Conference League. So those are the 2 big stories today: the match review from the Liverpool game, and Spurs out the Conference League.
I haven't seen. We didn't watch the press conference. I forgot about that.
Yeah. But we've got a few super chats to get through. You got one on your screen. I've lost that one.
It was from Jason Lundy. He says, was at the game last night, first time visiting the stadium, only just coming off the high now. Sessignon had a bungee cord attached to Salah. Great performance. Are you any relation to We Are Tottenham Pie and Mash? No, only in mutual admiration. That's the only thing. I'm good. I like a good pie and mash. I was at the game yesterday, and I must say it was rocking yesterday. The atmosphere was brilliant. It was really, really. You really felt the belief inside that stadium and the excitement for the first time in a long time.
From the beginning,
since Conte has come in anyway.
I'm saying, was it buzzing from the beginning, or just after we started like playing well, did it get to grips with things?
Right at the beginning, I think everyone was maybe a bit nervous. There were a few like songs, but it wasn't like rocking. But once we started to get into the swing of things, and that Wink started pinging a few hard challenges, the atmosphere really got going, and it was really good throughout most of the game. To be honest, it was really, really good. And even one of the most important things actually for me is actually as soon as we went 2-1 down, everyone started singing again and started like encouraging the team, which is not what you'd have seen a few weeks ago. Like as soon as booing at half time at Leeds. You know what I mean? So I think at least what I was happy about was even though we were losing, the fans could see we were playing well and acknowledge that and weren't just like getting on their back just because we were losing. We could see beyond the result, which a lot of the time maybe we can't. So I was very happy with that. And it was great. The atmosphere was rocking.
How many times did we sing "Oh When the Spurs"?
Not as many as you'd think. We didn't hit the 10 number.
Variety of life? Variety of
we sang what's it called Super Tottenham from the Lane. we sang that.
All the classics came out yesterday.
No, it was good. No, it was really good atmosphere. I was really happy with the fans yesterday. They put in a good shift, I thought.
Yeah, to be honest, I mean, I wasn't listening to the commentary, but I had the headphones down there and I could hear the fans through the headphones just being
and
here.
And
I did have a bit of fun.
Although the new stadium, the atmosphere hasn't been as good as it was at the old White Hart Lane. When it does get going, it's loud. It's really loud. It's actually quite good, quite special when it gets going.
Yeah,
it just needs to happen more often.
It needs to be consistent.
Exactly,
you know what I mean?
Every game, even not.
It's like Harry Winks and Harry Kane. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the fans need to be consistent as well.
Exactly. Another super chat here from Paul Gregory saying possibly the best outcome for us, so we don't get ridiculed for celebrating winning it, and we don't get ridiculed for getting knocked out by losing. I mean, if we're going to go out, this is probably the best way to go out.
Yeah, because you can't really. It's not our fault, is it? Well, it is kind of our fault, but it's not totally our fault. We kind of have a bit of an excuse. And it is what it is. Look, there was never much upside to winning this trophy except for having a trophy. That's the only which is good. But I don't even know what you could say. You've won the conference. Like, what are you champions of? Like, I don't even know. Like, even Europa League, yeah, you can't. I don't know what to say. But you get a Champions League place. You know what I mean? You're in the Champions League, so we could say we're in the Champions League, and that's a great thing to have. But to win the Conference League, it's like.
You get Europa League spot.
Yeah, but so what? Like, we can get that through the league. Like, honestly. So,
that's what I was saying. Under Nuno,
but whatever. Like,
at times,
doesn't matter.
Why doesn't it matter?
It doesn't matter because, like, we should be getting it through the league. We should be getting it through the league.
But if we're not good enough to get it through the league, which we weren't maybe under Nuno,
then we got bigger problems.
Yeah, of course we got bigger problems, but at least it gives us a route.
If we're not good enough to get top 6, you're probably not good enough to win the Conference League. That's probably the truth anyway.
All right, well, let's move on to some guests, and let's start off with Mikey.
All
How's it going, Mikey?
Hey, guys.
Hey, Mikey.
I'm good. Sorry, I've had a lot of trouble with my Wi-Fi this morning, but I got on just as you guys said, let's go to the guests. So,
all right. Good timing then.
Big up.
Yes.
How did you think the game went yesterday? How proud are you of the team this morning?
I honestly, you can probably tell my voice is a bit. Were
you at the game yesterday?
No, so I wasn't at the game. I don't have like the One Hotspur season ticket, so I can't get tickets to any Premier League games because for some reason they don't give general sale in COVID. Obviously, they need to be a bit more careful with their ticket selection. So the last Tottenham game I went to was the Pakosh home leg back in August, and when I watched Gio, I was right behind Gio when he scored the free kick. And I remember the game yesterday. It was so good. I don't watch games. I can't afford Sky Sports, so I listen on 5 Live because it lets me like do stuff.
Why don't you listen to the watch-alongs?
No, because I do.
I'm joking, Mikey.
I know.
Put him on the spot.
I've been put on the spot. No, I was really proud of the way the team performed. This is what I was saying on my first show on Tottenham TV a couple of months ago. I said that if Conte can get his teeth into the side and really influence his ideas of how we can play onto them, we're going to be a force to be reckoned with. And I still stand by that because I remember the pre-match sort of feeling of me was I was completely and utterly convinced we were going to lose. I was convinced that we were going to give a good account of ourselves, but Liverpool's quality would shine through. And I woke up yesterday morning and I was like, you know what? I have a feeling we're going to do surprisingly well today. And all of my friends were like, so do you still think Liverpool? And I was like, no, I'm going for a Tottenham win. And they were like, well, how come? And I said, I don't know. I just have this feeling. And when I think it was Robertson. He headed wide in the first few seconds.
Mhm.
Like Liverpool, with their first attack, probably should have scored. I
Yeah.
thought, well, I was wrong. But no. And then Harry Kane scored, and it was all good. And literally this morning, I'm just so proud of the team. But I think a lot of people are saying that we should have won, and based on the chances we created, we should have. But if Harry Kane gets sent off, we're not winning that game.
Yeah, that's spot
That
on.
should have been a red. Emerson should have given away a penalty, as you both said earlier. If those two decisions go the way they should have gone, we're not winning that game. We have a man sent off and we're giving away a penalty to Mo Salah, who's arguably the most lethal penalty taker in the Premier League.
Yeah.
So I think Klopp can be very. If that happened to us, I know Conte would be screaming. He'd be so Conte. Klopp has a right to feel aggrieved, and so I think a
But
draw.
Mikey, isn't it nice for the decisions to go the other way for once?
Yeah, I've been sat here I've been sat in my room because I'm back home for Christmas from uni, but I've been sat in my room many a time thinking, how has that gone against us? But I think, in all honesty, a draw is probably the most fair result, because if both of us think that we shouldn't have had 11 men on the pitch, and we shouldn't have. But then again, Robertson got sent off and Kane didn't, so no wonder Klopp was shouting at Paul Tierney after the match. But I do think with the chances we did create, we should have won, but Kane shouldn't have been on the pitch to help create those chances. So there's a bit of back and forth between those two arguments. So I think a draw is the fairest result based on the match event.
But if you put the bad refereeing decisions aside, just go on the balance of play, the way the football was played on the pitch. Never mind what the refereeing decisions were like yesterday on the pitch. I mean, surely there was only one clear team that should have won yesterday.
Alisson, first of all, he made two blinding saves. I don't know how he's got to the one between Dele and Kane.
Yeah.
And that one against Dele again was spectacular. And then he's messed up for Son's goal. So it's a game of 50-50s, because Kane should have been sent off. Robertson did get sent off. Yeah. Alisson had a really good game, but also made an error. There was nothing. I think you can call it a game of two halves, but not in the sense that one half was better than the other. It's just everything in that game was 50-50, balanced perfectly. The scoreline, the only thing that wasn't probably was Tottenham's expected goals, which landed at 2.8 to Liverpool's 1.4 or something.
Who's the last team to out XG Liverpool? I'd like to know that.
It's probably been a long time. Probably a while.
Yeah, the last
maybe
team to out
Man
XG
City
Liverpool.
or something.
I was going on about this on the fan show last night.
Probably Man City.
I was thinking about it. It's like nuts to out XG Liverpool. It's nuts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we completely deserve to win. But do you not think, Mikey, as much as it was a great performance and a good result, are we ever going to get a better opportunity to beat Liverpool than we did yesterday with the chances we created, and them also being down to 10 men for about 15 minutes?
When he brought Lucas Moura on, I was convinced that Lucas Moura was going to drive at the heart, but then counter Klopp. But I wasn't. I thought Klopp had made all three subs, but he brought on Joe Gomez, and that basically nullified any attacking impetus, because he just sat back with a 5, put Milner and whoever Keita as the defending, and just had Firmino and Salah waiting to pounce. So I think by bringing on Joe Gomez, he nullified any in the last 15 minutes. He nullified any attack, because by then we were tired, because the intensity of that game was up and down so much. I think I didn't stop. I was panting by the end of it. I'm a runner. I have I have stamina plenty, but after that game I was completely out of it. It was the most exciting game listened to in a Spurs shirt since Amsterdam. I will confidently say.
Were you not disappointed though in that how we failed to create anything those last 10 minutes or so? Was that not a bit disappointing to you?
I was, because he brought on Reguilon for that same thing. Sessegnon was getting a bit tired, so he brought on Reguilon to combat that. But then I honestly think Klopp's last substitutions did actually nullify, because it brought on Joe Gomez and having a 3-man backline. Even though we had Kane, Son and Mora, Kane and Son were already tired. They were probably a bit dejected after missing all those chances. And so when you get that chance, I think if Liverpool had gone down to 10 men even 5 or 10 minutes earlier, it would have been. But I think by the stage of the game, the intensity and the fact that we hadn't played for 2 weeks and hadn't really been training properly, that final 10-minute spell, although I'm gutted to have not capitalised on it, you can see why we didn't at the stage of the game that it was, and our varying fitness levels. I have to shout out Harry Winks. I mean,
Come on.
That's probably his best game since the Madrid game in a Spurs shirt. It has to be. Since his midfield masterclass against Real Madrid, it has to be his best game in a Spurs shirt.
Do you think that performance was better than that?
Well, no, because we won the Madrid game. No, I'm messing. I think it could be, but I think there was less of an emphasis on he was individually brilliant rather than he was brilliant in the system that he played. He was brilliant for the team rather than being individually brilliant.
Obviously in that Real Madrid game, I think he was coming up against Modric and Cruz.
And now he was coming up again. His levels have dropped since then. You don't take on Modric, Cruz, and Casemiro, arguably the best trio in the world, and then you get a man who's making his first start, a man who's been injured about as many times as Harry Kane has scored Premier League goals, and a 36-year-old whose stamina is still good, but he has no pace. So I think Harry Winks was fortunate not to come up against Liverpool's first choice of Fabinho, Henderson, and Thiago, who, if they'd had their full starting midfield, we probably would have been overrun, because we would have needed the solidness of Højbjerg and Skip to combat that. And I think in midweek against West Ham, when they have a really solid midfield of Rice and Souček, they're both fit, right? Like, I'm not making that up. They're both going to be fit and probably starting.
Yeah, probably.
Rice and Souček, yeah.
So again, that West Ham's midfield is better than the Liverpool one we faced yesterday. So I think you can't afford to play Winks, Dele, and Ndombele in that West Ham game because of the system they play. I think he will revert back to Højbjerg and Skip if Højbjerg comes back in time and if Skip is fit enough. But I think you have to give credit to Harry Winks. He was really good yesterday. Sessegnon and Davis pocketed the most informed player in the world. You say that this time last year, you think, what the hell? You think Ben Davis and Ryan Sessegnon have pocketed Mohamed Salah?
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Mikey, let me ask you this about Harry Winks and Dele Alli, right? After 2 really good displays yesterday from both of them, obviously it's been widely reported that they are out the door in January, or we're looking to get rid of them as soon as possible. I mean, on the back of that performance, do you reckon the feeling is still the same? Was that a shop window job, or are they going to... Go on.
I reckon with Harry Winks, you can maybe afford to keep him because of the level of midfielders we have. First of all, we need our homegrown quota filled, and those 2 are homegrown players. So you need, first of all, the Premier League needs its homegrown quota filled. And I know we have plenty of English players, but losing 2 of them is going to be harsh. I think out of Harry Winks and Dele Alli, we can afford to lose Dele more than Harry Winks because of our depth in attacking midfield is more than it is in defensive midfield. Because you look at our DMs, we've got Højbjerg, Skip, and then Winks, and that's about it. We don't have many other players behind him. And in attacking midfield, you've got Ndombele, Giovanni Lo Celso, Lucas Moura, Tanguy Ndombele, to name just a few. Even players like Bergwijn and Son can drop into that midfield role. So I think I wouldn't sell both of them. After yesterday, I rate Winks' performance more than Dele, just because Dele, he missed that one against Alisson. I know his finishing isn't what it used to be. If he's had a little bit more of a run of games, maybe he finishes that. I think sell one of them, but not both, because we're not going to go out and buy another defensive midfielder. That's not our priority at the moment. Our priority is, if Romero comes back and Dyer and Davis continue the way they've been playing, Romero slots in alongside an informed Eric Dyer and God himself, Ben Davis. I think we're in for a good defensive performance. Emerson was Probably the only Tottenham player I'd say didn't give a very good account of himself yesterday. He should have given away a penalty, got a silly yellow card, and was terrorised by Sadio Mane. I mean, most right backs are, but especially Emerson, he was isolated. And if you had, and then Davinson Sanchez was, again, you basically described him perfectly. Really good moments and some really shit
That's
moments.
Davinson Sanchez down to a T, isn't it?
Yes. So I don't. Based on this game, you can't. It's very reactionary, and you can't afford to say we don't need a centre back because we do need a centre back. We really do. But where does Conte look to improve this side now? Because we've got Eric, probably right centre back, but once he goes out and buys a good right centre back, then Romero's back in late January, early February. So, what position does he look to buy? Because we're not going to replace Reguilon at wing back.
I think a central centre back, and I think also we need a left centre back because as much as Davis is playing well, if Davis gets injured, what happens? So we need competition for him. We need competition for Davis. So we need a left centre back. We have Joe Rodon there, but does he trust Joe Rodon to play behind Eric Dyer? So we probably need another centre back as well, because as much as they're playing well, but they need competition as well, and they need their places under threat. So either they keep their standards, or a better player will come in and take their spot. So that's what we need. We need a centre back.
Like, I love the way they're playing at the moment, but I'd love for our reserve centre back trio to be Sanchez, Dyer, and Davis. I'd love for that to be our backup centre-back trio with Romero, and obviously you're not going to be able to get two absolutely world-class centre-backs in January because Levy's promised Conte money, but he's not promised him that kind of money. So I figure if you look at a Spurs side and see, this is names out of thin air. I'm not saying we're linked with these players, but if you look at someone and say three half-decent centre-backs, Romero on the right, Stefan de Vrij in the middle, and who's a good, and Aymeric Laporte on the left, for example. We're not going to get those players, and then if you look at the backup and say Sanchez, Dyer, Davis, you think that's really good centre-back depth. So I think if we get two very good centre-backs to once Romero comes back, to replace Eric Dyer and Ben Davis, it would be harsh because they're very good, but they're good, but they're not consistent over a season keeping up these levels. There will come a point when the performances will drop, and I know that's probably some pessimistic thinking, but how many times have we seen things like this happen? Like Dele Gill will get a good run of games and then suddenly he'll fade back into obscurity. Harry Winks will have this game, and probably if Højbjerg isn't 100% fit, he might start alongside Skip on Wednesday. Is it
Wednesday? Wednesday, yeah.
So I'm very much looking forward to this West Ham game, because the way we played yesterday against Liverpool, I know they were depleted and didn't have. If they'd had, I mean, even without that midfield, if they'd even had the presence of Virgil van Dijk, that would have been enough of a problem as it was. But I think that was very fortunate timing for the players that they had missing and for the way we played. And I just want to give another special mention to Tanguy and Ndombele, who was yesterday. A lot of people are saying that Dele was brilliant. I don't think Dele had as good a game as everybody thinks, because of the way we played. His numbers were good. He almost got a goal and an assist. But I think Ndombele performed better than Dele in the sense that the hype over Ndombele has been nothing. There's been absolutely nothing ever since every manager's come in and said, I can't work with this guy. Jose honestly tried as much as he could, and it didn't work out. Like last season, he was good. He had flashes. He was good, but never any consistency. And I think,
there was a time last year, Mikey, where he showed quite a bit of consistency under Jose.
I know, but it wasn't kept up. It eventually faded away. And I know you can say that with every player, but
I think the fact of that is that because Ryan Mason came in and just never picked him again.
Yeah, I know, but a player with Ndombele's talent and his quality, he's a very special player. I maintain that he's probably the most naturally gifted player in the squad, no doubt.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Doubt.
Mikey, moving on from the game, We're out of the Conference League now. We've lost 3-0 to Rennes.
I don't care about that competition. I think
Well,
I know.
You answered my
I know
question
it's a
before I asked it.
I know it's a chance to win a trophy, but literally, I heard what he said. I'm still adjusting. But you're Sim, and what's the other guy's name? I'm so sorry.
Who, Ben?
Excuse me?
I'm messing. Ben and Sim. No, because I know your names. So Sim's one on the left, Ben's one on the right.
Yeah.
So when Ben said, it's a trophy, but what are we going to say we've won? We are champions of a third-tier European.
that was me. That's me.
Sim. I'm Ben.
Okay, I am very sorry for this.
No,
but
he's trying to get who said what. He's trying to gather who said what. Yeah, I
It
said,
remain-
well, yeah, that was
Sim
me.
is anti-conference league, and I'm pro-conference league.
Okay, so I would have to agree with Sim then, because if you look at it, you're just gonna hear people say, like Villarreal last year, you won the Europa League, but the big thing about winning the Europa League is even if you don't do it in the league, you get qualification to the Champions League. It's not about I won Europe's second tier competition. It's I'm now back in the Champions League. That's the whole attractive prospect of winning the Europa League. Winning the Conference League, there's no attractive proposition because you go into the Europa League next year anyway. So there's no financial gain, because I remember when you guys did a breakdown, we won like £8 million, and that's probably that's going to finance Daniel Levy's private jet for a month or so. But you think back to the amount of people that after that Champions League final, everyone expected us to finally like kick on under Pochettino. That defeat, even though it was a huge defeat, we made it to the final, but it did the opposite. It just dejected everyone. And I think if we'd have come out of the Conference League at a latter stage, like we did in the same fashion we did last year in the Europa League against Zagreb, that was horrifying listening to Orsic score a hat-trick.
Yeah.
But
It was more horrifying watching it, trust me.
I know I would. I didn't watch it because I don't have the relative subscriptions. But either way, it's a blessing in disguise, I feel, because even though people will say you couldn't even make it out the group stage, not making it out the group stage, people will forget about this in a month. If you lose in like the round of 16 or the quarters or the semis, people will never let you forget it. You'll be like, you couldn't even make the final. But if we make top four, we're going to look back at this decision and say thank you, UEFA, because it means that we're playing 6 or 7 less games a season. We have more training sessions in midweek, and literally we can now focus on the Carabao and maybe even the FA Cup, because I'd love to see us finally. In my lifetime, I've seen Tottenham win one trophy. I thought I'd finally get, and I wasn't even I was 5. I didn't really know what football was then. I haven't felt the passion of a team winning a trophy. I thought England would do it at the Euros, and we lost in the final. We've lost finals, semis, and I've never felt my team win a trophy. I'm begging for it to happen, and I feel for Tottenham fans who've been around longer than I have, who haven't seen their team win no disrespect to the Carabao Cup, but none of the big three, a European trophy, a Premier League, or an FA Cup. I just want to see us win a trophy and get top 4. And if that combination happens this season, we're going to look back at UEFA's decision to knock us out and say thank you, because it means we had less fixtures to play, so less chances for our key players like Kane and Son to get injured, more training sessions to bolster their fitness, and more time for Conte to this gives more Conte less time of planning games and more time to sit down with board members and Levy and Don Paratici and say, this is who I want. This is who we need. After the game yesterday, I want X, Y, and Z, and I want you to give it to me, because if you don't, I will leave. So I just hope that this decision doesn't come back to bite us on the arse and somehow we end up doing worse than we did last season. But if we do kick on, it's a huge if. I can see this decision being probably the most monumental in terms of our season progressing. I just want to say last night's game was absolutely enthralling, and I had such a good time.
All right.
Big up, Mikey. Thanks for coming on once
Mikey.
again.
Good to see you, mate.
And we'll see you soon, bro.
See you, I'll probably be on for the preview against West Ham whenever you guys do your next live
Tomorrow
chat.
we'll be back. Tomorrow we'll be back for that.
Right, well, I'll see you tomorrow then.
All right.
Nice
Cheers,
one.
Mikey.
See you soon, mate.
Bye. All right, that was Mikey. Next up, we've got Jason. How you doing, Jason?
Hello, I'm good, thanks. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Mate. All good, mate.
Cool.
Obviously 2-2 with Liverpool yesterday. Did we deserve the win yesterday?
Yeah, I think we did. I told you the super chat earlier. I was at the game. You got to forgive me. I'm absolutely shattered today. It was such a good day.
Did you sit in the south stand yesterday?
No, I was in the. My wife got me some of the premium seats.
Oh, yeah.
Christmas, so I was in
look at that.
the east stand. It was good.
How were the prawn sandwiches?
I didn't eat anything. I just had the beer.
No, I'm kidding.
I was with a mate of mine who's a Liverpool fan as well. I told him to be on his best behaviour in the stands. I needn't have bothered though because there was a whole group of Scousers behind me going absolutely mental when they scored.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What, and they didn't get chucked out or anything?
No, they got a few dirty looks. There was a bit of banter going on, but yeah, it was a little bit off-putting. But we were the better team, so it didn't matter too much. Let them have their fun.
Interesting. Who really stood out for you yesterday?
I think I said Sessegnon in the super chat. I think he was brilliant. Watching in the first half him up and down that wing with Salah, every time he got a few steps away, he was back on him again. He didn't give him any breathing room. People are giving Davies a lot of credit, and I think he does deserve it. He played another good game yesterday, but I think it was mainly Sessegnon keeping to Salah in that one. I think he was outstanding, and without him, it could have been completely different had Salah run riot.
Yeah, 100%. What did you think of the major decisions? Not to give Kane a red card, Jota penalty, the Robinson red card. Should Dele have had a penalty as well? What were your opinions on those?
I mean, the penalties, I think neither of them. I'm very much just like, you just get up. I think either one would have been a soft penalty.
Mm-hmm.
The red cards, Kane, it was hard. Like watching it, I thought it was a bit harsh. But the way he went in, not the decision. I could see if it was given, because had Robbo been standing on the ground, that could have been a leg breaker. So I don't know. It's hard saying it, but yeah, I think maybe he should have got sent off. But the thing was, Kane was going for the ball in that challenge, whereas Robbo wasn't. He just hacked away at it was Emerson, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So I can see why there's a difference in decision, but I don't know why VAR didn't ask to make it was Tierney, wasn't it, the ref?
Yeah.
I don't know why I didn't ask him to go back and have a look at it.
Okay. And in terms of how we played yesterday, do you think it was more down to us playing really well, or Liverpool, having a third choice central midfield out and a lot of players missing? What would you put the performance down to?
I think it's Conte's tactics. I think there was a little bit of the midfield being a bit weak, but I think I actually thought Tyler Morton, his name. I'd never heard of him before. I thought he actually did pretty well. In the first half, he was cutting out quite a few passes to quite a few long balls to Son and Kane. But yeah, I think mainly Conte with his tactics. We had a lot of chances. I still think we would have had a fair amount of chances if they'd had, Thiago, Henderson, and Fabinho in there. I still think we would have done it.
Interesting. It's come out this morning that UEFA have announced that Tottenham are out of the Conference League. They've given the win to Rennes. It's a 3-0 victory for them. What's your opinion on us being out of the Conference League? First of all, is it the right decision from UEFA? And secondly, are you bothered about it? Are you upset we're out, or do you think it could benefit us?
No, I'm not really. I think it's the right decision. I think it's a bit harsh, but do we really care about it? I think I do a little bit. It would be nice to be in there. It'd be nice to win something, But who says we're even going to win it? We put in let's be honest, we put in a pretty poor show the first few games in the group stages. I think it's probably best for us that we're out of it. And yeah, it's a little bit harsh, but yeah, I think it's probably the best decision. And like by the letter of the law, I think we cancelled the game. We couldn't fit it in. I know that who was it? Was it Ren who was trying to rearrange, or was it Vitesse trying to rearrange the game? I can't remember who we were playing now.
Well, we were supposed to be playing against Ren, but they didn't help us try and rearrange the fixture.
Yeah, and I can understand why they wouldn't. Like, why would they want to help us try and rearrange it? So I can understand why it falls on us, and I can understand why we get kicked out. But yeah, it's harsh. But at the end of the day, do we really care about it?
Fair enough.
Yeah, I know that you've got split opinions on it. What's your thoughts on that?
Me personally, I mean, I would have liked to stay in it because it's just another avenue for a trophy. I thought it was more important for us under Nuno than under Conte, because under Nuno, I wasn't sure if we were going to get European football for next season. That's above the Conference League. But now we've got Nuno. Now we've got Conte. I'm not overly fussed about it, to be honest. I mean, my preference is probably to stay in it, but now we're not in it. I think you've got to look at the positives, and you've got to see that how it can affect us going forward and improving our chances in the other trophies. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I think it'd do us. Like, I think top four is more realistic without us being in that position or in that cup.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with 100%. You. Yeah, I'd agree with
100%. You. And that's more important, unfortunately, in this day and age. That's just reality.
Yeah, and yeah, just to check, you guys aren't any relationships with the player mashup, are you?
No, we're not. No, I've spoken to the owner before, but no, we just share the same name, apparently.
Oh, it was great. Great food there. Great way to start the day.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jason, thanks for calling in, my friend, and hopefully we'll get to speak to you soon.
Yeah, no worries. I'll come on when a bit less tired next time. But yeah, have a good day, guys.
Cheers.
Well, I hope if you're this tired after every Spurs good performance, I hope you're knackered when you next come on.
Yeah. I'll just leave me and Ben asleep.
Nice one.
All right,
see you later, Jason.
See you soon, mate.
Bye. Is there anyone else, Vinny? If you can turn your camera on, we can bring you on, Alexandra. There we go. Alex. How you doing, man?
No, he's telling us to shush.
Is it all right?
Yes. Your connection's not very good, though.
Well, there you go.
Good?
I think that's better. That's better.
Perfect.
How are you, my friend?
Good morning. I'm fine. What about you guys?
Yeah,
where are you calling
really
from?
Portugal.
Portugal. Awesome.
Yeah.
Huh?
He's called him before.
I wasn't here for that.
Yeah, you were not.
There you go.
The first time I came in was when we were just about to appoint Conte. And
Brian Vega was here, right?
Sim wasn't there, and Ben made that like 5-hour stream.
Well, I was in Portugal.
You were in Portugal, yeah.
No, you're in Spain, don't lie.
Oh, I went to Portugal after Spain.
Oh, right.
Went to Lisbon.
And he didn't even call you, Alex. He didn't even call you.
Should have called you in.
I'm in the north.
In the north. Did yesterday's performance excite you, or were you more frustrated we didn't get the win?
Again, I was working. I didn't watch the game. Yeah. But I've looked around it, everything and stuff. I think we can only be happy, of course, especially because if the training ground wasn't closed, and if we had if the players had rhythm, they would have scored. It would be 3-0 first half. Easy.
What?
Against a depleted midfield of Liverpool, it's very exciting. You cannot go around that.
Yeah, definitely. Do you think maybe the break, this enforced break that we've had, might have helped us, or do you think we're just, we're still? It might not have helped us, but we're doing the best we got with the players that maybe didn't get positive cases.
Conte made the tactical work.
Mm-hmm.
It surely helped. Physically, of course not. But tactically, I think nowadays you only need an iPad, and he reverted to the 5-3-2 like I was expecting some time ago already, and it benefited us like tactically maybe. That's all, and maybe a bit of rest also is good. But you need rhythm, you need training, and we can only be positive.
What's your opinions on the Conference League? Obviously, the ruling this morning, Spurs are out, forfeiting the game to Rennes 3-0. What's your opinions? Are you happy we're out, like a lot of Spurs fans, or is this a trophy that you'd like to have won?
And I couldn't not understand until like 5 minutes ago when you explained, Ben, that it's about tradition at Spurs, that you don't take it lightly, even if it's a new second tier or European competition.
That's not what I meant. That's not what I meant. I meant that it's tradition. It's tradition at Tottenham to be the first to do things.
I didn't know that. That's quite.
So we were the first to win the UEFA Cup. We were the first to win the double. We were the first to win the FA Cup as a non-league side, and this would have been another first.
Yeah, I understand your point on that, but please, Spurs don't belong there. You could see yesterday.
I completely agree with that. We don't belong there for sure.
Yeah. Players I could see in the Mura game, in the playing up some farmers in some places in Europe. You could see the players couldn't care less, and I don't know if even the chairman from the structure downwards until the players, if they couldn't care less too. That's why I understood everyone was so pissed off about Mura and stuff, and you included, of course. But since I'm a Spurs fan only for like about a year, maybe less, because I need to feel really loyal to be a fan. I watched this channel for 2 years, and I only started calling 2 years later after I was sure. But what I was saying is, to not slaughter the players because of that. You could see that if you put them Premier League opposition in front, I know they are paid to play, but Conference League is the biggest joke. I promise. This season you're gonna have clubs on the last days making sure they don't get qualified on the last match days.
Nobody wants to finish 7th. You'd rather finish 8th or 9th than 7th this year.
Yeah, that's what I think. Apart from if like I don't know, just promoted side or a lower tier side. I mean, globally, not only in Premier League, they might those type of sides might be feeling okay about going to that competition. If not,
it's for teams that really haven't faced European competition recently. The likes of Arsenal should look forward to going into the Conference League. Teams like that. That's who really should suit the Conference League. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think so. Too.
You think we're out? We got a good chance of top 4. What do you think?
Yeah, I honestly, I don't know what Rangnick has done, apart from being, I don't know. I'm not scared about Man United. I think I was more scared when Carrick was there. Yeah, they played so good. I happened to watch the Champions League game against Villarreal, and they were really, really good. And against Chelsea, they put up a fight. I don't know what's when then Rangnick came in. It looks weird, so I'm confident. Yeah, even if Manchester was United were rocking.
You think it's between us and Man United?
Yeah. Like it's always been before.
So Arsenal, I think, finishing are currently sitting in the top 4, aren't they? They're 4th, I think.
6 points ahead with 3 games in hand.
Yeah, and West Ham obviously have been knocking on the door throughout the season. Do you not think they pose any threat to the top 4 race?
I mean, you cannot. I don't know the word. You
can't rule
cannot
them
underestimate teams,
Yeah.
of course.
Yeah.
Arsenal have a good. I watched. I somehow fell on their starting 11 against West Ham. I think it was
Yeah.
pretty strong 11. Yeah. But Spurs, we just need. I don't know, man. I don't even know what we need, because okay, Doherty is a gunner. I think even Doherty can get good. So
You
we
reckon?
might just need a KCA and a Vlahovic, and that's it. Because I was afraid about the wings, but Conte doesn't really use wings,
Well, he is
attacking
fullbacks as the wingers.
wingers. Yeah. So it's a position where we have nothing almost, but we apparently won't need. So I don't know what you guys think.
Yeah, look, it's a hard one to say, because obviously a lot of the fringe players came in yesterday and performed really well. But we've seen players like this perform well in the past as well on the odd game here and there. So it's all about consistency and showing that you're here, showing that you want to be here to stay, and showing that you're here and can really provide that consistency that we need. Because if you're only going to come in for a game here and a game there, and it's not really worth it, is it?
Conte is all about that, apparently.
Yeah.
Isn't it? So we should just let the things go, and because only positives are gonna come. The Mura game. By the way, just a question: is Melchiot was a Chelsea player, right?
Mario Melchior.
Yeah.
What the hell? He comes on whichever TV English commenting on the day before. He had a left-sided smile about the game when he had to comment about were Spurs going to get hammered and stuff. Then the next day he comes with completely different opinion, like saying, "Yeah, no, Spurs have 2 weeks of rest and stuff." And the day before he was saying Spurs are going to get slammed because they have no rhythm. Oh, that's so funny. So I'm thinking about this because Spurs are a big club by their own will. They have no Arab funds, no any shit,
Yeah.
and they get bantered. For what? You know what? Why would they get bantered? And I think that's going to finish from now on, especially with Conte. And even if Conte leaves some of the mentality there, and we bring a similar coach like Inter did, I think we can get very exciting years ahead.
Let's hope so, Alex. Let's hope so.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for calling in once again.
Nice one, Alex.
Really good
to see you, mate.
And yeah, have a good rest of the day, my friend.
You too, guys. See ya.
See ya. Bye.
Yeah.
Anyone else? All right, so that is the end of the show for today. Player ratings, 5 takeaways, and Premier League perspective to come today.
Very short Premier League perspective.
Very short Premier League perspective. I think there's about 3 games this weekend?
4 games.
4 games, yeah. So we'll see how the points system work this weekend. But that is your Good Morning Tottenham match preview, and obviously the Conference League update as well. We'll be back very soon, so see you all. Thank you everyone for joining today. Like, subscribe and comment, and as always, come on you Spurs.